One man, one mission, to rid the world of chronic anxiety once and for all. The Anxiety Guy, Dennis Simsek, shares his personal transformation from living a life filled with overwhelming worry to becoming a full-fledged positivity machine, a leading authority in generalized anxiety. Dennis gets to the truth of your mental health challenges and sets you on a path to transforming each and every area of your life. Here he is, the one and only, the Anxiety Guy.
Welcome to episode 266. I am Dennis Simsek, the host. This is the Anxiety Guy podcast. And this podcast episode is brought to you by theanxietyguy.com. Head over to theanxietyguy.com, spend some time learning more about the programs, the inner circle, the meditations, my previous blog posts, everything you need for your healing journey at theanxietyguy.com. And warriors, in this podcast episode today, I love speaking about this subject. Why? Because it's so essential. It really is, and it changed my life. It really changed my interpretation over my anxiety and emotional distress. It got me to a place where I could be more compassionate towards myself. And one of the biggest things it did was it helped me to create a bridge between what I was experiencing and why I was experiencing it. What am I talking about? I'm talking about getting to know the inner child's role in your anxiety. Now, to many people who are new to this content, the YouTube, the podcast, the programs, the master classes that we're beginning soon, you need to understand that you don't have to understand the inner child's place in your anxiety fully today. Because so many people get to a point where they are introduced with a concept. And they feel like because they don't fully understand it right away, they put it aside and say, I'm not strong enough, I'm not smart enough to understand this, or it's just not for me. I'm just going to go back to what's familiar. Don't be that person. Open up your mind, open up your heart to understanding the inner child's role in your anxiety disorder. Now let's understand this. What's familiar to a person is what's secure for a person. And this security comes from our earliest experiences, which laid the foundation as to what something was and what our self-concept is, basically who we are and what we deserve in life. All of these were laid down as the foundations during the earliest experiences in our lives. This becomes evaluated against all other experiences in terms of familiarity, which leads us to the understanding that inner and outer turmoil, suffering, anxiety, can in fact be the familiarity that the inner child seeks to feel safe in the world. Imagine that. The inner child seeking security through familiarity based on the initial experiences. Oh my goodness, the clarity that is arising within us today. So, what this means is that this inner child within us, connected to the subconscious mind and body, will not look for love in terms of the interpretation being made from the adult mind. We all know what love is. Inner peace, joy, fulfillment, happiness, connection, all these things. But to the inner child, it's different. To the inner child, what's secure and familiar is love. So dad comes around and you're 6 years of age, and he smacks you on the face, and he says, you deserve that, and I did it out of love. Ooh, what happens to the child's interpretation of love? Well, at the deepest level, love means violence. Love means disconnection. Love means something negative. So as this person who goes from childhood years into adult years progresses through their life, they sort for love. That's why you can see certain people get into relationships with people, and if the person is in fact truly loving, caring, heartfelt, open-hearted, friendly, then the person who's experienced these early experiences where dad slapped him in the face and called it love will not be as interested in the relationship. So they'll find a way to sabotage it because it's not familiar. Whatever is familiar is what the meaning is. Period. End of story. Now, this is why I preach the importance of reconnecting and building a new and understanding relationship with the body. Because the body is the largest part of your subconscious mind. The body stores your traumas, your emotionally intense experiences, and everything you suppress, from ideas to words to behaviors to feelings to everything. The body is the inner child. And since you are afraid of your anxiety symptoms and distract from it and hate it so much, you're also preaching hate towards the inner child within you. Think about that for a second. Think about that. How have you been responding to the very things that your body is trying to preach to your conscious mind, trying to let you know that it can't hold any more of this information. It can't suppress any more emotions. It can't suppress the words, the behaviors. A part of you, the adult mind, wants to express. It wants to be free. It wants to free itself from the crutches of its past and this fake and artificial identity that you've become. And the inner child is saying, you know what? It's full. The tank is full. The body is full. We can't hold anymore. But because you keep playing out the same habits and because you haven't resolved what needs to be resolved from your past, you continue to live in a distressing state. What the conscious, logical, adult mind thinks means very little. Familiarity rules the nervous system. Remember that. If you don't come from an understanding place towards your sensations, your symptoms, and intrusive thoughts, you may never have the opportunity to build the kind of relationship with that inner child that you need to in order to create congruence between the adult logical mind and the child's subconscious mind. Now, take a moment to take in the biggest lesson that you just took from this episode. What did you learn about your symptoms? What did you learn about your body? How have you been treating the inner child within? The inner child connected to those intrusive thoughts. The inner child connected to all those anxiety symptoms. The inner child that seeks familiarity but can be led towards a new meaning behind what love is, a new meaning behind what reality is. Our goal is to create a bridge between the adult conscious mind and the inner child's subconscious mind, so that once and for all we can go back to being unique, creative, and we don't have to live as a mold of somebody else, because that's what's happening right now. You're living the way society wants you to live. You're believing the same things your authority figures believed. And you haven't looked in the mirror and said, hey, I have to start being true to myself. Why not today? Build that loving relationship with the inner child and guide the body rather than react instinctively and negatively towards it. Build a better relationship with the inner child, and your anxiety will subside over time. I promise you. Enjoying this podcast? Please give it a positive rate and review. And again, head on over to theanxietyguy.com. You'll have everything you need to begin your healing journey. I'll see you soon. I love you, and remember that you are more than anxiety. Bye for now.
Thanks for being an important part of the Anxiety Guy podcast community. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a positive rate and review. If you're searching for further support on your road to recovery from anxiety, head over to anxietyexit.com and take part in the powerful End the Anxiety program based around the CBT model. If you're searching for a more one-on-one approach, you can sign up now for personal coaching sessions with Dennis via Skype. Remember, you are more than anxiety. See you in the next episode.